Hey guys, welcome to the Trash Picture Show. Before I start, I have one question for you. Does anyone remember this sound? Yes, this was the sound of absolute awesomeness back in the day. If you grew up in the late 90s, early 2000s, you loved the PlayStation, and I loved the PlayStation. My brother bought a PlayStation and he had a couple of games and he shared those games with me, but I ended up picking up some. A few years later down the line, hell, I still find some today that I add to my collection, but there was always a bunch that I absolutely adored. So this is going to be my comprehensive list of my favorite PlayStation 1 games. Again, this is my list. This is not indicative of what I think to be the best PlayStation games. If you had a favorite PlayStation game, leave your thoughts on what was the best in the comments below. And yeah, let's get this show on the road.
10.
So, number 10 on my list is this. Yes, before Nico Bellic, before Tommy Vercetti, there was the original GTA. This was the old school Grand Theft Auto for the PlayStation. And let me tell you, for the time, it kicked arse. Essentially an over-the-top isomorphic adventure game where you play an unnamed hood who is waging a one-man criminal war against the cops and other gangs. And essentially this set the basis for all the GTA games to come. Now, by today's standards, it's very, very fucking primitive. It is very simple, basic, over the top, very pixelated graphics. But back in the day though, it was fun. It was great fucking crack to cruise around the likes of Vice City or San Andreas in these pixely little cars, taking on the cops, running over Hare Krishnas, Garanga. If anyone's played the game, they know what fucking Garanga means. And you also got some awesome cheats like Hand the DJ. Again, it hasn't held up as well as the newer iterations, but if it wasn't for this game, we would not have the newer iterations of Grand Theft Auto, and for that, it earns the top spot at number 10.
9.
Number 9, this is an absolute gem from Ubisoft. This is Rayman. It's a French game, it is a platformer, but it is gorgeous. The cartoon-like aesthetics really enhance the graphical capabilities of the original PlayStation, and it is a really fun platformer. I really like the character of Rayman, and the different physics that you have to use in order to progress through the game is really, really interesting. This is one of those games that still holds up today, despite the graphical limitations of the time, and that's why Rayman gets the number 9 spot in this list.
8.
So yeah, for a lot of people with the PS1, there was kind of a dispute over who was the kind of mascot for the platform. A lot of people say Crash Bandicoot, but if you ask me, it had to be Lara Croft. This was a game released in the age of what was called Girl Power. If you don't know what Girl Power is, look it up. But yeah, essentially you have a female Indiana Jones traversing tombs and traversing ancient lost cities. She kicked arse. Lots of guys had a crush on her despite her at the time having triangular knockers. But the fact is, this was a cool game with a cool protagonist. A lot of platforming, a lot of exploring, but there was also a lot of heated combat where you had to take on different monsters and animals. My favourite level has to be Lost Valley because I'm a dinosaur simp, where Laura had to single-handedly take out a T-Rex. If you haven't played the original Tomb Raider, play it. I do know they re-released an upscale version for modern consoles. Don't play that anniversary shite, that was shit. Just play the OG version if you can get your hands on it, or the re-released remasters. Again, Tomb Raider was an essential purchase for the original PlayStation, and if you ask me, it is an iconic game with an iconic character, and that's what earns it the number 8 spot.
7.
Number 7, Oddworld. I fucking adore this game. The graphics using the whole claymation style is amazing. It was witchcraft at the time. I remember this was on the original demo disc for the PlayStation when it was released over here in Europe. And yeah, I adored this game. I played the shit out of that demo. It was bastard hard, and let me tell you something. The actual full game is just as difficult. You essentially follow Abe on this weird planet. He is a Mudokon who is working a shitty job in a slaughterhouse run by a bunch of malevolent corporate aliens or monsters or whatever the fuck you want to call them. And essentially he finds out his species is going to be next on the menu, so he has to escape, save his people, and he has to destroy Rapture Farms, the slaughterhouse that's going to put all his race to death. This game was incredibly difficult. You had to use a lot of trickery, a lot of stealth, and a bit of magic. And again, the enemies were vicious in this game, and Abe is so likable, so lovable, it actually crushed you when you died. Again, if you get a chance, play this game. The graphics are fantastic. It's an amazing looking and sounding game, and if you ask me, it was one of the best launch titles that the PlayStation ever had, and that earns it its number 7 spot easily.
6.
Oh, you fuckers can't tell me you didn't know this was going to be on here. Alien Trilogy. This was bought for me by my brother for my birthday, and I played the ever-living shit out of this. What is conventionally known as a boomer shooter now, this was essentially a Doom clone, but set in the Aliens universe. It is a first-person shooter that puts you in a kind of abridged events of Aliens with settings from both Alien 3 and the Bone Ship from the original Alien. Really cool, spooky environments, awesome enemies. Granted, the enemy graphics are very pixelated nowadays, they haven't held up, but still a whole host of fun. Nice arsenal of weapons, really atmospheric sound and soundtrack. Hell, if you want to listen to the soundtrack, you just slap in the PlayStation game CD into your CD player and listen to it. And if anyone's wondering what a CD player is, ask your grandparents. But yeah, again, Alien Trilogy, as an Alien fan, this is a must. And yeah, one of my favorite games for the original PlayStation. And that's what wins it the number 6 spot.
5.
At number 5, we have another movie tie-in game. The Die Hard Trilogy. This is absolutely fucking awesomeness encapsulated into one disc. Essentially, you get a third-person shooter, a light gun game, and a driving game all wrapped into one, all set in the universe of the Die Hard movies. I adore this fucking game. The third person shooting aspects are pretty fun, but for me, Die Hard 2, Die Harder section with the light gun is probably my favorite. Going around Dulles Airport, shooting bad guys on jet skis, jumping over hills. That was my favorite section of this. Not to snub the other two, again, the third person combat in Nakatomi Plaza is kick arse. And driving around New York like a fucking lunatic in a taxi cab with someone putting on a very bad Samuel Jackson voice is fair fun too. Again, another classic for the console, and if you never played it back in the day, you need to rectify that immediately. This easily wins the number 5 spot for my favorite game of the PlayStation.
4.
Number 4 might be a surprise to some people because, yeah, I'm not a sports aficionado, but I had a hell of a lot of fun playing this with my brother back in the day. This is my brother's copy of Formula 197, and I fucking adored it. This game kicked arse. You essentially drove around some of the biggest Formula 1 circuits in the world with some of the most awesome cars. There's also some fun elements as well. You could put in cheats that allowed you to drive kind of hovercrafts or kind of Formula 1 circuits that were no longer in use because they were too fucking dangerous. Also, it was great crack to drive the opposite way around the track and piss off the two commentators who would be just totally flustered and be like, I can't believe he's going the wrong way around the circuit. Again, it's an amazing game. If you are a car enthusiast or a racing enthusiast, you should at least give this guy a go at least once. And yeah, that easily gets it the number 4 spot for me.
3.
Again, do I have to ask you, is there any surprise why the fuck this is here? I love The Lost World Jurassic Park, but let me be totally honest with you. This is a frustrating game to say the fucking least, but it is so fucking fun. And why is it so fucking fun? Because it lets you play 3 different species of dinosaurs and 2 human characters from the game. Be it the Compsognathus, to the Velociraptor, to the Mighty T-Rex, to Sarah Harding, to Dieter Streak. This is an absolute fucking kick-ass game that has you platforming all different types of terrain and taking on a whole host of prehistoric adversaries, from Pachycephalosaurus to Ankylosaurus to other species of raptor, to Brontosaurus, to Allosaurus, to Carnotaurus when you're a teeny tiny compy. This is a kick-ass game, and if you're a fan of the Jurassic Park series, this is a game definitely to check out. But be warned, it is frustrating as fuck, and you need the time, the patience, and the effort to go through this. But regardless, it still easily secures the number 3 spot on this list.
2.
Everything the original did, this does a million times better. I absolutely adore Resident Evil 2. The longevity alone is worth having this game. And hell, I think this game does a better job than the remake. The remake is fun, but it fucks up in that it repeats the same boss battle twice with both Claire and Leon, whereas this gives you unique bosses regardless which scenario you're playing. Yes, you heard me, scenario. So you can either play Claire scenario 1, Leon scenario 2. You can play Leon scenario 1, Claire scenario 2. The choice is yours, but it doesn't stop there. There's some other fantastic elements. The hunk mode, if you finish the game on hard mode within a certain amount of time, you unlock hunk, and that lets you do a kind of time trials mercenary mission. You unlock new weapons, new costumes. The longevity of this game is amazing, but not only that, it's also a fucking scary game. The encounter with the liquor will stay with you long after you finish this game. It is an amazing entry into the series, and what I think is one of the best of the original Capcom Resident Evils, and that's why it gets number 2 on this list.
1.
Was there ever any fucking doubt that this was going to be number 1? This game is absolute fucking witchcraft. The fact it ran on the original PS1 is mind-boggling, but Hideo Kojima made it fucking work, and by Christ, it is the best game to play on the original PlayStation, in no small part to the fantastic programming and AI that was built into this game. Essentially, you take the role of Solid Snake, who must infiltrate Shadow Moses Island and save the world. You know, the usual shit, but despite its rather soap opera-esque elements, there is some fantastic tactical stealth involved in progressing in this game, with some wicked combat, and as I said before, very soap opera-esque, but gives us some absolutely cool characters, from Snake himself, to Revolver Ocelot, to Ninja, to Merle, to Psycho Mantis, the motherfucker you have to use the other controller in order to fight. This game kicks arse. I mean, the fact is, Kojima put so many cool little elements into this. The fact Psycho Mantis could read your fucking memory card, that would creep you out. Or before the battle, your TV would glitch and Hideo Kojima's name would pop up right before the TV would come back on again. This is absolute fucking art embodied in a PlayStation game, and is not only a must play but a must own if you have the original PlayStation or even a PS2. So yeah guys, they are my top 10 favourite PlayStation games of all time. But what are yours? Again, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. My name's Martin, this has been the Trash Picture Show. And yeah, have a good one. Take care. Bye now.